Hi, Jesse Nebulous here. Welcome to Crusader Kings 3. This is Magnus Morin, and he's going to be helping us find out if we can unite all of Ireland in one lifetime. He is temperate, diligent, calm, a genius, beautiful, and a journaler, whose family crest proudly bears the motto, live long and prosper. I start off by taking the stewardship focus, which I hope is the right choice because I'm playing on normal now, and I've only ever played on very easy, so we'll see. And I set about trying to rearrange my cabinet of counselors after hiring a court physician. And my cabinet sucks, and there's nothing I can do about it. There's nobody better, and I have the worst bishop I've ever seen. Zero learning. Ugh. I find a wife, Stella, who is impatient, diligent, and ambitious. And I really like her. Plus, she has an awesome cloak. And I remembered to take her off the knight list, and I've lost enough wives to have finally figured this out. She already really likes me, but I decide to sway her because I want to get her up to 100 so she doesn't start scheming against me. Next, I set about taking stock of my neighboring rulers to see what their militaries look like, and I start seeing some of the first instances of the difference between normal difficulty and very easy, being that the neighboring rulers have militaries that are either superior or, about the same as mine. Which makes me a little nervous, at least at first. Especially since Munster already is growing in size. However, I am able to vassalize one of the neighboring earls almost immediately, which surprised me. I didn't expect that on normal mode. And there it is. He's vassalized. So we have Breffni. And almost immediately, again, I can vassalize another county. So I did so, growing in size by picking up a leek. And if I mispronounce any of these Irish names, I do apologize. I'm trying my best. This makes me the head of Irish culture, which is awesome. I didn't expect that so early in the game. And I pick up hereditary rule so that I can enact some better partition laws. My wife is pregnant. The joy is short-lived, however, as it ends in miscarriage. I spend a good portion of the early game getting raided by Vikings, which is definitely different from the very easy mode where you don't get raiders that early that are that strong. And they outnumber me, and I don't know what to do. I fight valiantly, but they kick my ass. But I still fight on, even though I lose. I settle on the strategy of wearing them down, because if you fight them enough, they will leave. So I may not be strong, but by God am I annoying. I fund early development with blackmail, and have my first child, a girl, a comely genius that I name Moira. And I soon realized that on normal difficulty, it's much more difficult to manage stress. So I definitely take advantage of journaling and calling hunts. Now I take a peek at what's going on in the rest of the world. Looks like the HRE is definitely swelling. Norway's not doing as much as it usually seems to do early in the game. But England's kind of swelling over into France. And my daughter is pensive. Interesting. She's a thinker. A troubadour catches my eye, which is not something I'm interested in. No affairs for me, thank you very much. I spurn her advances. I'm attacked by yet more raiders, but I just keep up my strategy of fighting and being super annoying until they finally leave. Which works, despite the fact I take a prestige hit from losing all these battles. And I start bulking up my military as soon as possible. It's too late to win some of those early battles, though. So I switch over to the martial focus to help with some of that control, to get some of those control perks. Some diligent planning ends up sending me into my first stress break, but it is mitigated by some journaling. So if you're ever about to have a breakdown, just journal a little. It's good for you. And I welcome my second daughter, Fiona, who is beautiful and intelligent. During a training exercise, I find this awesome specimen who has lovely stats, so I bring him into my court and appoint him as one of my counselors so I can finally have a decent counselor. Then I have my third daughter, Shanae, who is comely and intelligent. At this point, I decided it's wise to probably get some of my daughters betrothed so I can get started on that. I find someone with good stewardship skills for the first two in case my heir dies and I have to go with my second daughter as my heir. And for my third daughter, I just work on alliances. And I think on normal difficulty, the military costs more because, yikes. I still bulk up my military, though, whenever possible. And I really like Stella, so I decide to romance her because I want Magnus to like her as much as I do. We start off by writing her a love poem, since we're a journaler, and she enjoys it very much. I notice the Earl of Athlone is looking pretty weak, so it is time for war. And we beat them quite soundly at the first battle. Then I have the chance to get my wife a dog or a cat, and I chose a dog, which she loved. Then, during a hunt, she is attacked by a wolf, and I rush to her aid, and we fall madly in love and become soulmates, just as I win the war. And Athlone is ours. It's at this point that I notice that think that's Scotland. Scotland's looking pretty weak, and I'm really tempted to go over there and kick some ass. But my challenge is to unite Ireland, and I want to keep my eyes on the prize and not stretch myself too thin, which turns out to be a really good plan because I immediately get raided again. And if I had tried to go off fighting another war, I wouldn't have had the men to fight off this particular raid, which was really close. We were very evenly matched. But in the end, we are finally victorious against a raiding party. So exciting. We're finally growing stronger. I keep investing in my buildings and upgrading things, using blackmail money to do so, and upgrading my military when possible. And it's during this raid that I noticed something interesting about the enemy commander, which is he's a court jester. I can't believe that the Vikings are sending me their court jesters. That's insulting. And I finally have a son, but he is just quick, not intelligent, not beautiful or anything. So instead of naming him after me, I name him Sean. And I take stock of the rest of the world, and Scotland's gone. And it's been replaced by Alba. And the HRE's looking pretty scary. Norway's still not doing much. But look at that. The Holy Roman Empire is like trying to swallow France. It's terrifying. Moira comes of age, having become diligent, temperate, compassionate, as well as being a comely genius. And I remember to take her off the night list so she does not die. I have lost so many wives and heirs to forgetting to do that. And I marry her off to her betrothed. And I switch back to the stewardship focus. And at this point, we welcome little Siobhan. And yes, that is how you spell Siobhan in Irish. I can't tell you why. And I welcome my first grandchild, a little girl I named Stella after my wife. She is my heir's heir, so I might play as her someday. She is intelligent. At this point, my wife is 44, pregnant, and ill, which is cause for some concern. And I set up some betrothals so that I can get some decent alliances. The time has come to go after the county of Oriel. We outnumber them by a healthy amount, so it is not difficult to beat them up, which is quite nice. And in the midst of battle, we welcome another son. He is a genius who I name after me, Magnus. May you grow strong and wise, child. And soon we are victorious, and we take Oriel. And through Moira, we welcome another grandchild, a little boy I named Conan. Fiona comes of age, having become diligent, vengeful, temperate, as well as beautiful and intelligent, so I marry her off. And I believe, yes, I take her off the night list, because stress is bad enough without my kids dying. And I had betrothed her to someone, but he apparently died, so I had found her a new suitor. Military improvements continue. And at this point, I noticed that Moira's husband died of consumption, so I found her a new husband with decent stewardship skill. Then Fiona welcomed a little girl that I named Bridget. Shanae comes of age, so I take her off the night list, and I marry her off. I am once again overwhelmed by stress, but it's nothing a little journaling and hunt can take care of, right? Right? But during the hunt, Moira manages to shoot one of the commoners with an arrow, and I have to make a choice, and I lie to everyone, saying that she fought to protect him. And thankfully, they believe me. So his dress is looking better, but I can't say the same about mine. Fiona welcomes little Theodoric, and I switch over to the learning focus because I want some stress management help. Dublin's still looking too tough to fight, so I keep bulking up my military. Moira welcomes a son who has no traits and is boring, and I name Coleman. And I set up some betrothals. And I passed the limited crown authority law, which I should have done a long time ago, but I'm a noob. What can I say? A faction springs up against me, which is first for me because that doesn't really happen on easy mode. Unless you're tyrannical, which I'm not. But I look around at it and it's very weak, and I'll keep an eye on it, but it's not of too much concern. That's when I noticed Leinster has broken off from Dublin, so I set my sights on them. But first, Moira welcomes little Eleonora. And I build a tax office in my main capital, which is going to bring me lots of money in a couple years. Finally, my bishop brings me a claim for Leinster, and it is time. It is time for war. So I declare my intentions, and I get ready to kick some ass. And as you can see, it's not really a fair fight at all. Sean comes of age in the midst of battle, and I marry him off. And it's at this point, well, first I take him off the night list, because, yeah. At this point, I'm able to pick up a dynasty legacy, and I pick noble veins, because the blood of the Morin is strong. And then I get back to business of kicking ass. Shanae welcomes twins that I name Catriona and Constantin. And, almost immediately, Moira welcomes little Anlaith. Soon, we are victorious, and we take Leinster. And it's when I am converting Leinster to insularism when I notice that Athlone is neither insular nor Catholic. They actually have converted to Adamitism, the dirty heathens that run around naked. So, I've got to take care of that sooner or later. At this point, Magnus is 60 years old. I'm starting to get nervous that I might not beat this challenge. Siobhan comes of age, and I marry her off and take her off the night list, as is tradition. And I start bulking up my military a little bit there. And during a hunt, Moira does it again. She shoots one of my commoners. Jesus, Moira. So I once again lie, and thankfully, everyone believes me. Thankfully, my stress levels, I need a hunt. I need to call a hunt or journal or something. Though it's at this point that I notice that she is no longer my physician, which is strange. And I check. I get a new physician, but I also check. And she's no longer in my realm. Her husband got a job elsewhere, which is annoying because I picked a wanderer because I wanted my heir to stay in my land. Oh well. Time to go after Enos. Or Ennis. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. We'll go with Enos. And end up having to chase them around the map a little bit, Benny Hill style. It's kind of annoying. But in the end, I finally caught up to him. And Siobhan welcomed a little girl that I named Beatrice. During a battle, I caught the petty king, thus ending the war in a victory for us. My granddaughter Stella came of age, so I found her a suitable spouse and married her off. Sure, he had good stewardship skills. And I decided it was finally time to take Dublin. Though I called in my allies for this one because I didn't outnumber him as robustly as I would have liked. And it's a good thing I did call in some allies because it proved to be a little trickier than the rest. And it's at this point that I start having some suspicions about my knight. So I set my spy master to uncover his secrets. And it turns out he's banging my daughter, Moira, my heir. Moira, you are so much trouble. You are just such a handful. At this point, my allies show up, which is fortunate because their allies showed up, and it's kind of a mess. But I was able to siege the castle in peace while my allies kicked ass up in the north, which was fantastic. And at the same time as we clinch a victory, we also discover the hereditary rule, which is fantastic. But my spy master tells me someone is plotting against me. Who can it be? Who dares? Why, it's my son, Sean, the traitorous bastard. And I try to imprison him, or at least I look at the possibility of imprisoning him, and it doesn't let me. Which was frustrating. It wouldn't let me do it without being a tyrannical decision, and I don't want to incur any tyranny, so I just didn't do anything about it, I guess. I tried to change the succession laws, but I can't because some of my vassals are unhappy, and even sending them gifts doesn't make them happy enough. And Magnus comes of age, and I assume he's just going to start scheming against me as well. But I marry him off, find him a nice young lady. I nearly marry him to this lady, because I mean, just look at it. Look at her. But in the end, I am more sensible, and I go with her. Since I finally have some money going, I decide to create some of these duchy titles. And the first one I go with is Meath, which, upon acquisition of it, paves the way for this. Ah, isn't it glorious? I don't quite have the money yet. And Stella gives birth to my great-grandson, Fergus, while Shanae welcomes little Cecilia. And soon it is time to purchase the title to Ireland. And I have become a mighty high king. And my first order as king is to send my giant of a bishop to take care of the dirty heathens in Athlone before I decide to wage some more war, taking Ossory. They are vastly outnumbered and they don't have a chance. Not in hell. And that's when I get a pop-up telling me, interestingly enough, that Sean has no reason to stay at court and will soon leave. Good riddance, traitorous bastard. I still can't imprison him, so I do the next best thing and give him a makeover so that everyone knows that he's a clown. Siobhan gives birth to little Cyrus as we continue to wage war for Ossuary. Unfortunately, I become ill, but my daughter, who is my physician, takes good care of me, though I still look like death. Shanae welcomes little Aiden, though there's a bit of a problem there because, do you see it? Dark hair, mom has red hair, dad has blonde hair, kid has dark hair. I really want to wage more war against the petty king of Munster. However, it would break the truce and I'd get some negative penalties that I really don't want. And I asked the head of the religion for money, which he gives me, but look at this. The miserable High King Magnus. If he doesn't like me, why is he sending me money? And from Shanae, we have another set of twins, Juliana and Joanne. And I keep upgrading my buildings and investing in my counties. And I've got a pretty good flow of money going, which is awesome. And I pick up the healthy perk, which is good because I'm looking pretty decrepit, which makes me nervous that I'm not going to be able to complete this challenge because I'm already in my 70s. However, I get the chance to vassalize Munster, which paves the way forward to the completion and unification of Ireland. Kind of anticlimactic, but it happened. I beat the challenge. Did it in one lifetime on normal difficulty. Isn't it beautiful? Ireland. I love you. I was about ready to wrap things up when this happened. Someone exposed my daughter's secret affair. Now they know Moira is an adulteress. And I don't know what to do because immediately after this, her husband imprisons her for her adultery. And they're in a different country. I can't even do anything. I try to ransom her, but I don't have the option. So I don't know what to do. I think she finally got herself into trouble that I can simply not help her out of. But we beat the challenge at age 72. High King Magnus has unified Ireland. So thank you for joining me. I appreciate you. And I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. And if you're interested, I could keep playing this family. And let me know if you want to see more of the Moran Dynasty. We could keep it going and see what we can do. Or I can try this on hard mode and ultimately die. Alright, I've been Jessie Nebulous. Thank you. Bye!